Hey guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. First thing you're going to notice is this Eclipse right here, and this is what we're going to talk about today. If you remember last week's episode, I was en route to go look and pick up this car. And so here it is. Here it is in my driveway. We own it. We're going to talk about that, the ins and outs. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a tour. I'm going to walk you around and show you what we're working with. But lots of content to come on this car. We've already ordered parts. My daughter is super duper excited, and she has just been spending all of her free time looking online at ideas and inspiration. So let's go ahead and dive right in. What you're looking at is a 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse. This is a GS. Now I said it last week, but there's 4 different models of this particular car. There's the RS, the GS, the GST, and the GSX. Now, what you're looking at again is the GS. So it's not the baseline, it's not the bottom of the barrel with the smallest, puniest engine, but it's also not the turbocharged all-wheel drive edition either. What it is, and you can see by this huge intercooler here in the front bumper, it is a turboed car, but it's an aftermarket turbo. This car would not have come with a turbo from the factory. So the previous owner, or the original owner in our case, did indeed turbocharge the car, which is fantastic. If you remember, I started to talk about this car has been in Central Oregon its whole life. The original owner, I actually bought it from his brother. The original guy had driven it for, 15, 16, 17 years, bought it in 1999. The last few years, it had been traded back and forth, used as collateral, used as leverage in a couple of different trades. I'm not exactly sure the story, but it looks like it's been maybe owned by 2 people on paper. But again, it's kind of worked its way back into the original family, and we bought it from them. So it was not the original guy who painted the car purple. That was one of the very first things that the next guy did. I'm going to show you some of the parts that came with this thing, but other than that body kit you see on the front bumper there, the aftermarket wheels and tires, and the turbo kit, you're going to see that the car is relatively stock. It is a low option car, no power anything, no power seats, no power windows. It is a very bare bones car, and it drives like a 1999 vehicle. It is not super fast, even with the turbo. In today's standards, it's actually quite slow, but it's a great little 5-speed car, super fun to drive. It is pretty quick, but I wouldn't call it fast. It's a great first car. It looks like $1 million, or it will when we're through with it. It looks super fancy, but at the end of the day, it's not a very expensive car. I was able to get him down to $5,500. Now, I touched on this last week, but if you remember, I made, after selling the Hummer and the Honda three-wheeler, about $5,500. So to me, this car is essentially a wash. I mean, I basically rolled my profit from the Challenger straight into this thing. And then the parts that we're buying are coming out of pocket, but realistically, there's perfectly good factory parts on the car that I'm going to go ahead and remove and sell to recoup as much as I can. So at the end of the day, my goal for this car is to be completely turnkey done with it. I can literally hand my daughter the keys and me personally be into it less than $1,000. That's my goal. I'm going to show you the parts that came with it, but like I said, you're going to see this aftermarket front bumper is already here. It's already painted. Now I have matching side skirts and a rear bumper that have not yet been painted. One of the very first things I ordered for this car is the paint to complete that body kit. So the previous guy sent me, it was paint that was purchased off of eBay. That's exactly what I did when I painted my 1965 Mustang a couple years ago. I ordered a paint kit, right, where it came with the paint, the hardener, the reducer, and all the measurements and all that stuff, maybe a measuring cup or whatever. But I bought all the painting equipment, and I can do that myself. And since it's just side skirts and a bumper, I can literally lay a tarp out in my backyard and do it. I'm not going to worry too much about a clean space or a clean room or any of that stuff. I'm certainly not going to paint it here in my garage because I keep my other cars here. So it is going to be an outdoor project that will take place when the weather gets nicer. So my daughter's super excited for that. What that means though is I can sell off the factory rear bumper, and I actually have the factory front bumper that came with the car. So that is a bonus. It did come with a second set of wheels and tires. The wheels are the factory 15 or 16 inch rims off here. Again, from new. Someone some point used those for winter wheels. So there are older studded snow tires mounted currently. I think one of them is flat. The bead may have popped or something. So I've got to take those in, get them, remounted. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with them. If there's a hole in that one, get it patched. And then I'm thinking about spending a few bucks and having it re-studded because many of the little metal spikes that are in those tires have popped off over the years. So if I can get those re-studded, they'd be essentially like new, but that's down the line. I'm not gonna worry about that now. The other parts that came with this car is a carbon fiber hood. As you can see, it's got the factory hood on here that is painted purple. My plan is to take that hood off, put the carbon hood on, and sell this hood off. So the carbon hood, I wanna say I talked about this last week as well, but the previous guy who painted the car purple also wanted a black hood on the car. And so rather than just putting a carbon hood on and calling it a day, he decided to take the carbon hood and paint it a matte black. So he rattle canned it. He actually did a pretty reasonable job for a rattle can, but truth is, I'd rather have carbon. My daughter would rather have carbon. I don't know why you would do that, but he did. And so, with that in mind, we're going to take some time and remove that paint and then get that car put together with the carbon hood. The way I figure it is this car came with over $2,000 in extras. So when we bought it for $5,500, that was pretty well the going rate. I looked at a ton of Eclipses, anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000 or $8,000, many of which needed a lot of work, needed a lot of time, needed a lot of parts and energies and all those things. Whereas this car was a relatively turnkey vehicle. Granted, I still have to do some painting and there's still a few little things here and there that I need to fix and tweak. But what really pushed me over on this car was the idea of it being a turnkey vehicle for $5,500 that came with a carbon fiber hood that's valued about $800. It came with a body kit. In fact, the body kit that my daughter wanted, which again is worth about $800. It came with factory wheels with studded snow tires. I'd probably put a $200 to $300 value on that. It did come with the factory bumper, all the extra little things. But what really came with the car that I didn't know about until literally I was loading all this stuff up into my truck is that someone somewhere bought a Lambo door kit for this car. Now, the guy I bought it from did say that he and his brother attempted to put it on here, and they did mount it with success, but the issue was that the front fenders wouldn't go back on correctly. The Lambo door kit was very specific for this car. So they were a little bit confused, but basically the bottom fastener right behind the front tires, the bottom fastener of the fender, the holes didn't line up. So the fender kind of flared out down at the very bottom back here. It flared out just an inch or two, but it was awkward enough looking. It didn't look right. And obviously the seam didn't seal right correctly with the door and all those things. And so they ultimately took them back off and away they went. So these Lambo door brackets or hinges or whatever you want to call them have been sitting around for years, unused and collecting a little bit of dust and rust, in fact. So I have those hinges. I'm going to sell those things. Looking online, those as a kit sell for like $1,000. Someone somewhere is going to want them. I'd say that maybe they're worth $300-400, something like that. So all in all, again, over $2,000 worth of parts with this car that she wanted to buy anyway, meaning she would have had to have picked up a car for about $3,500, maybe $4,000, but then spent all this money on additional parts and things to get it to this point. So very excited about that. It's great, runs and drives really nicely. It shifts incredibly well. From a maintenance standpoint, again, it's had very few drivers. And the best part about this car, to me, is it's a 1999, so it's the last year, the best year of this body style, but It also only has 106,000 miles, original miles on this thing. So what's crazy to me is this car is 12 years older than my truck, but my truck has 107,000 miles on it. So it actually has fewer miles than my pickup, and it's 12 years older. So cool that this 24-year-old car has 106,000 miles. I mean, that's barely 5,000 miles a year, not even 5,000 miles a year. So such a fun feature of this car. It never really left Central Oregon. It was a commuter car. Obviously someone wanted to Fast and Furious the crap out of it, but they didn't own it very long. And so it got traded back to the original family, and here we are. So what I'm gonna do is pop the hood the rest of the way. You can see it's already popped, but I'm gonna lift that up. I'm gonna show you the engine bay, and then I'll walk you around the exterior of the car. So the first thing you notice is this huge turbo right here, and it's actually not that huge. I say that a little bit joking, but what it is it's a Turbonetics turbo kit. And so you're gonna see all the piping, you're gonna see the blow-off valve, you're gonna just see all the parts to this turbo. And basically it was installed by a local performance shop called Import Performance. They're in Bend, Oregon, and they do fantastic work. They've had a really great reputation. Doing my own research, this kit, this Turbonetics kit, is somewhere between a $1,200 and a $2,000 kit. If I were to order it online, then I have to either install it myself or have somebody else do the install. In this case, Import Performance did it. So I've got to assume at some point, someone spent some serious money on this engine. This loom and all this stuff, like you can see it's starting to fray, and some of it doesn't look all that great. But there is a strut bar, you know, across the top there, or a strut brace, if you will. You know, what else? Yeah, Greddy blow-off valve. You know, that's worth some money. That costs somebody something. And then, you know, little breathers and stuff like that. The one thing I forgot to mention that's brand new on this car, literally days before I brought it home, are headlights. So these are new projector and halo headlights. And as I wander around the back of the car, you're gonna see these taillights are also brand spanking new. So I'm not sure exactly if the old ones were cracked or damaged or frosted over or foggy or what, but the owner did go ahead and throw a new set of headlights and taillights on, which each are worth about 150 bucks after doing some research. So once again, another $300 we did not have to spend on this car. Again, huge intercooler. What you're gonna notice is this weird kind of dip under the headlights. That is the same on both sides, and I'm a little bit confused as to why that is, because realistically, I've seen this kit on dozens of cars, and this should be completely flat. There shouldn't be any weird kind of hump under there. Almost looks like an RSX or some other, like an Acura type of bumper. I'm not exactly sure why it's shaped the way it is. But what I want to do, and this is what the prior guy was going to do too, is I want to put a bracket in here that maybe will suck this up a little bit and kind of close that gap. But that's for another day. Let's see what else. Let's go ahead and pop the doors open and I'll show you a little bit about the inside. So you'll see the window tinting there. It's fairly dark, but you're going to notice, forgive the dust, the back window does not have any tint. You can see right inside and how dirty it is right now. It hasn't been cleaned or detailed. But when you open the door, all this stuff needs to get cleaned up. I mean, you can kind of see down here, like this goopy stuff. I'll try to clean that up. It got a little bit on the door there, but the interior is complete. It is intact. Crazy thing about this car, 24 years old, there's some wear and dirt, but these seats are in relatively great condition. No rips, no tears, no major stains. You know, a few little things, but hopefully I can get that stuff out. And so I was telling my daughter, if she really has her heart set on some bucket seats that are kind of like a racing style seat. And so what I told her is, I mean, realistically, we can sell these. Someone out there is going to want OEM seats. So if I can pull these out, get them nicely detailed, shampooed, looking good again, sell them as complete seats, yeah, sell the pair. We'll make some money back. Another really common thing on these cars is that airbag cover tends to peel and look incredibly gross. This one's actually in really good condition. I think that has something to do with the window tint being as dark as it is. It's protected the inside of this thing, and this car was also stored inside of somebody's shop. So it does not, hasn't had a lot of exposure to the sun. Up here, you're gonna see a boost gauge as well as a water gauge or water temp gauge, and then white face gauges surrounded by a faux carbon. Those light up real nice at night. They look blue and the dials are orange or red. And then my daughter first thing picked out this cool carbon steering wheel cover, new floor mats, and then it has a carbon shift knob, which we're gonna switch out for a little stubby ball knob that actually has the gear indicator on top. So, 1 through 5 with the R. And that's gonna help her, I think, from a learning standpoint. That way she's not reliant on memory right off the top, being that she's never driven a stick before. So that should help her out a bit. And then, of course, it's got the very era correct, very 1999 Pioneer Premier stereo with the flip down face and the hidden CD deck behind there. That's going to come out. We're going to throw in a double DIN touchscreen radio, mostly because this doesn't have an auxiliary port and obviously no Bluetooth capabilities. And so that'll get fixed relatively quickly. Other than that, you can kind of see here the window tint situation. See, the window tint is not there, and over there it is. I did order some tint for this car, so I will tint that back window myself. The very first thing I did from a repair standpoint was get new strut latches for this trunk lid. The lid would lift, and you'd have to put a piece of wood in there to hold it up. So that I've ordered and replaced. So she's got good struts on there now. We did order a very Fast and Furious-esque wing for the back of this car. It is a double deck aluminum spoiler. It is black in color, which is what she wants. The black wheels. They're scratched and scuffed, and I think someone just quickly rattle canned them to make them look halfway decent. There's some curb rash on this one. But basically what I'm going to do is take each wheel off, try to get the paint off as much as I can, and then refinish in a glossy black. She wants to keep those glossy. And then I'm probably going to repaint the mirrors or replace the mirrors in time. Again, side skirts to come, rear bumper to come, but she loves the license plate frame. So I'm going to show you guys that real quick. Tuna, no crust, remember the Buster. Any Fast and Furious fan knows what that is in reference to. So what else, guys? Oh, so some other things that we did indeed order. LED underglow. She's got an LED underglow kit here. It's ready to be installed, but we're gonna wait until I get the side skirts painted and the rear bumper painted and mounted and installed. And then we'll crawl under there and put the underglow. Let's see. I told you about the shift knob. I told you about the spoiler. I told you about the struts for that hatch, and I told you about window tint. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Let's take a walk real quick and I'll show you the additional parts. So right over here behind our travel trailer, forgive the mess, but here's the carbon fiber hood that has been painted matte black. Again, it's dirty right now, and it actually rained a couple days ago, so this stuff got all dirty and stuff. But I can pull this out and you guys can see the carbon weave on the inside. Let's see. Yeah, so you can see that a little bit. It's kind of hard because the lighting is not great, but it is a carbon fiber hood and it is black on the inside. From the carbon, I want to say, I can't tell if it's black or carbon down there too, but all this is carbon and the top is carbon should I be able to get that paint off. And then you're going to see the side skirts. You're going to see the stock bumper there. And then this is the new back bumper. I have it all sitting on a pallet, so it's off the ground. But truth is, it needs to all be pulled out, cleaned, and then painted and installed. So I'll sell that stock front bumper, and then I'll sell this stock back bumper. And, I'll sell this spoiler. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. That's about it. And so again, I apologize, the car's dirty. And then just getting the front bumper to fit a little better, that's gonna take some time. But all in all, it's gonna be an awesome car. I'm really excited for her. I'm really excited for the content that this car will bring, and just kind of looking forward to it. So if you guys have any questions or thoughts or concerns about the car, please let me know. Have you ever seen this car around, like on social media or anything? I haven't found a lot online about it. So if you guys have, let me know. I'd be curious to know what its history is on social media. And in the meantime, I'm gonna keep wrenching away, but let me know. Talk to you all very soon. I'll be bringing more content, but most importantly, remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Until next time.